If fat loss was honest, it would stop selling motivation and it would start selling patience. Because progress doesn't always show up on the scale, weekends actually matter more than weekdays, and muscle, not cardio, is the true fat loss engine. The real truth though, when fat loss works, it feels slow, it feels boring, and it feels messy. So in this video, I'm gonna give you the most real fat loss advice that you've ever heard in your life. Let's jump into it and let's have some fun. Honest truth number one, just because the number on the scale doesn't move doesn't mean that there's not any progress. So I'm going to show you a back-to-back picture of Dane right here. And I want you to guess, like, how much weight do you think he lost between these two pictures? And I'll give you a hint, it was about 3 months in terms of duration. So what number do you think that is? The number? It was only 14 pounds. Now, not to say that 14 pounds is like a small number, but if you look at these pictures side to side, you're probably seeing so much more than just 14 pounds, right? Because if Dane just lost 14 pounds and a lot of that was muscle, then he would not be looking like the way he does on the right side right here, correct? So in terms of like the progress, the scale, yes, you gotta factor it in, but there's so many more important things when it comes to actually measuring progress. For example, before and after pictures. Like I said right here with the picture of Dane, 14 pounds is a decent amount, but it's clear that he actually, at least maintained his muscle and probably even gained muscle within those 3 months. The second thing is just body measurements. So if you have access to measurements, it's always good to get those inches as well. The third thing is how do your clothes fit? Now this is very subjective, but sometimes like if you feel good in a pair of jeans or in a tight shirt, then you probably know you made some progress all along. And the fourth thing, like I said, that you could factor in if you do have it is like a body fat scan. Point being, guys, the scale doesn't always mean progress, and you can actually even maybe lose just a few pounds but look completely different, or you can lose 30 pounds but still have that skinny fat look. So know that there's so much more than just the scale. Honest truth number two, weekends actually matter more than weekdays. Now, fat loss isn't like a math quiz, right? Like in the math quiz, if you get like 5 out of 7 or 6 out of 7 right, that'd be considered a pretty good score, right? Well, at least for me. Like I used to get like 50s and 60s back in the day in terms of my score. But when it comes to overall fat loss, like if you do good 5 or even 6 out of the 7 days of the week, there's a good chance those 1 or 2 bad days will completely mess up your quote unquote score, in this case being your body. So this is where most guys fail. We're dialed in like Monday through Friday, but the weekend comes and those 1 or 2 bad days completely derails any progress you've made over the course of the week. Now, if you're wondering like, okay, I want to lose fat, but I don't want to get my favorite foods, I will literally drop a free document in the comments, guys. Download it. It's called our Weekend Warrior Method. It'll take you step by step. That way you can still lose fat and not give up any of those foods that you enjoy. And that's the exact same method that I still do to this day. Honest truth number 3, motivation is not a solution. Now, I want you guys to be honest. Like, how many of you watching this video struggle to find consistent motivation, like on a daily basis? I'll probably say 99% of you, right? Because it's a very real thing. The key to being motivation, guys, though, is not watching like the new David Goggins video, right? In terms like him running and him yelling at you. That's a very temporary fix that can maybe help you with a specific workout, or maybe listening to like a high energy work or music that's going to fire you up for your workout. Like that is not motivation, guys, and that's very temporary. So the way to beat motivation, because every single person, every single guy at some point is going to struggle with lack of motivation. The way you defeat that, and I've talked about this so many times in my other videos, so I'm not going to talk about it too much right here, but you have to find a painful reason why that you're trying to achieve your goal. If you just want to say, I want to look and feel better, then your motivation is going to come and go. But if you have that deep reason why that's going to make you want to cry, that's going to beat motivation, and that's going to lose and keep the fat off for life. Honest truth number 4, the more boring you can make it, the better it's going to be for you. Now, here's where most guys fail. We really try to overcomplicate things, and we have way too much variety in our eating, in our training. So we're having like different foods every single day over the course of weeks and months. We're doing different workouts. We're trying to mix things up. But the reality, guys, the more boring and the more simple you can make fat loss, the better it's going to be. Now, you don't have to take it to my extreme, but I'm going to tell you what I basically do essentially Monday through Friday in terms of eating. I have almost the exact same meals. So for breakfast, it's oatmeal with a protein scoop. For lunch, it's chicken burgers with hot sauce. For dinner, it's chicken fajitas. And then I have like a protein shake with protein chocolate milk for my snack. And then some of the other things I'll kind of plug and play snacks that I enjoy, like peanut butter, Triscuits. And obviously the weekend, that's where I have my pizza and whiskey. But that's a different story, and I talked about in the weekend warrior before. Point being, guys, look how simple and look how boring my meals are Monday through Friday. It's like three to four different meals I'm basically spamming on repeat, right? And again, I'm not saying you have to take it to that extreme, but you do want to simplify and you want to minimize how many different foods you are eating over the course of the week, because the more variety you have, the harder it is to track, the harder it is to be consistent, and you're probably going to fall off a slippery slope because it's just unsustainable having all these different foods. It's like any great athlete, right, guys? Like, you got to master the fundamentals and then you earn the right to do more advanced things later on. It's the same thing for you here. If you haven't mastered the fundamentals of, high protein, keeping your calories in check, then you got to focus on this first, and then you can add in more variety once you got that all pat down. The next honest fat loss advice: fat loss doesn't always feel linear. Now, tell me this sounds familiar to you. When you first start a fat loss journey, the first few weeks are pretty great, right? Like, you lose a shitload of weight, like you feel motivated, you feel stronger, more energy maybe even. But then after the first few weeks or after a month, the progress starts to slow down a bit. You're either maybe not losing as much weight as you originally did, maybe the scale was stopped altogether, hasn't moved altogether, or maybe even like gained a pound. And no matter what you do, you just can't get down to that rapid fat loss pace. Well, here's the thing, guys. Fat loss is never linear. And obviously, the more experienced you are, the harder it's going to be to make those big changes. But we've had so many clients say to us after, let's say they're a few months in and they're stuck for like a week. They're like, Rich, no matter what I'm doing, I just can't break through. And we just kind of say, hey, just trust the process. And they do it for another few weeks. It's basically exactly what they're doing. And then boom, the weight drops, the fat drops, because they're patient, which I said at the beginning part of the video, and they stuck to the plan. So don't panic, guys, if progress stalls, especially after the first few weeks or first few months. That's totally normal. Trust the process. Make minor tweaks here and there if you need to, because that's a real thing. And if you are at a plateau, there are a few things that you can definitely do. But point being, overall, just make sure you understand that fat loss does get a lot harder, especially as the weeks and months progress. Now, a bit off topic, but this will lead me to the next video here. 9 out of 10 men who lose a significant amount of weight gain it back after 3 years. In this video, I tell all the main reasons why that happens and how to avoid it or how to fix it. So if you're curious and you want to keep the fat off for life, make sure to check it out, and please make sure to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Thanks, guys, and we'll talk soon.